You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Boss, saan mga laptop?
Ano mo, sir?
Ito lang?
Oo, nabenta na po yun ito eh.
Out of stock na ba lang? Itong Minecraft?
4.5 na lang yan, sir.
HP 30K. Yung Breeze 4795. Yung Minecraft 45 na lang.
That was me looking for a certain laptop. Those weren't just any laptops kasi. Bale, on October 2022, regional newspaper Sunstar Cebu reported that local consumers found that Kobe NBPC 1958 laptops they purchased from HMR bore the markings of the Department of Education's logo underneath. In short, DepEd laptops were being sold online and in retail stores. Months later, an investigative series from Rappler found that it was the Department of Education's negligence that led to these laptops being sold for cheap. I'm Franco Luna, Puma Podcast. You're listening to Teka Teka News. Let's hear from Ryan Macasero, one of the Rappler reporters assigned to the story.
There was this buyer who was looking for a laptop, and he happened to see the etching of DepEd and different software that were tailored for DepEd for teachers. And actually, I was angry at myself because naskupan ako. And it was found in a store that was not far away from where I was living. I think all of us really wanted to get to the bottom of it because we're not just talking about thousands or millions of pesos. These are contracts that are worth billions of pesos. So this is a matter of the use of our public funds, of our tax money, how it's being used by the department with the biggest budget. And I think we had to pursue this to shed light on how our money is being managed and to let these departments know that we're watching them.
Pero, iba pa ito sa overpriced laptops na lumabas sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing late last year. The Commission on Audit sounded the alarm then over the more than 39,000 laptops bought by the Department of Education. These were for public school teachers, but many were quick to question their value and their price.
How can we teach our kids that crime does not pay kung makikita nila pag on nila ng TV ay kapresyo ng MacBook Air na latest ang binili para sa teachers nila? So by simply going to any mall and you can see computers that are cheaper than binili ng DBMPS at ng DepEd will be very revealing. Masyado kasi itong blatant eh. So napakasimple nito na either napakadaling ipaliwanag or huling-huli mo na talagang in-overpriced.
Take note, these were entry-level machines with largely outdated processors, bought at a price comparable to that of a brand new MacBook Air. That fiasco eventually led a Senate panel to recommend charges against the DepEd and other government officials involved. Around the same time they were investigating these overpriced laptops, lumabas yung article ng Sunstar. And that's when Rappler picked up the story as well.
It wasn't something that we were looking for. It was something I wanted to pursue, but the sources just started coming to us and then we went from there. Makikita mo na yung laptop itself is worth around 27,000 and binibenta sa mga tindahan ng patalo, 9,000. So why? Who would do that? And we didn't know at the time about the logistics issues.
See, the DepEd eventually awarded a 667 million peso contract to logistics provider Transpac Cargo Logistics Incorporated back in 2021. Transpac is a pretty small logistics company based in Las Piñas in Metro Manila. The contract was to deliver large amounts of equipment to public schools across the country, which the company had zero experience in doing. Those laptops were meant to help out public school teachers around the country under the DepEd computerization program. But a year later, the same laptops started popping up in Facebook Marketplace too.
Legally, nakalusot sila sa bidding process. But at the end of the day, there were laptops that didn't reach the schools they were supposed to. The contractor was unable to operate after non-payment for only 6 months. It's not like this 34.5 million was not out of the 667 million wasn't paid for years, and there were bidders who were bigger than them that were not selected. So I think there were, I guess, a philosophical debate about it. Okay, it's legal, but was it correct? I think at some point I had to come to the conclusion that we leave the legalism debates to the lawyers.
Ryan worked on this story last year, and when they were checking the HMR stores then, may mga Kobe laptops silang nakita. When they were doing legwork for this story, they found the laptops in HMR branches in Rizal and Cebu.
It was strange because when we came to Manila to check out the different stores here in Manila and surrounding provinces, these laptops were still for sale, and you would think that after it came out on the news that these stores would be, and these online sellers would be afraid to put it out advertised, but they were still advertising. So our question, we wanted to know what gave them the confidence to continue the sales, and also how did they get them, who were their contacts.
We're pausing for a quick break now. When we return, we checked another HMR store for these laptops.
Kobe laptop NBPC. Tara, punta tayo. Okay, ayan, nandito tayo ngayon. Naglilibot. Sabi wala eh, pero sige, hanapin natin. Sabi kasi sa Max meron. Seriously, meron pa kayong mga laptop? Yung Kobe?
Oo, walang meron ako.
Wala na.
Available namin din lang, wala na iba.
Pero nagbenta rin kayo ng Kobe?
Before,
Wala. Sige, thank you, kuya.
The second HMR store we checked is in Evergotesco. Ang sabi ni Pidoy, our audio editor for Teka Teka News, wala na daw silang binebentang Kobe laptops ngayon. 2 unit lang ng Dell, tas may ilang laptops na nakatambak sa loob na parang scrap na. We reached out to HMR's management for comment, and just like the Rappler report, we got no response. At this point, the story isn't just that government-bought laptops ended up for sale in retail stores. It's that the government bought these laptops and handed them out to a firm with no track record. Here's Ryan again.
You come up with a whole bunch of theories in your head. Na, is it a syndicate? Is there ano yung modus? Is there a group that is stealing the laptops within DepEd? Or is it from the supplier side? Na tine-theorize mo. And then we found out about how in 2021, the Department of Education, because of its issues with deliveries of laptops and other gadgets to begin with, sought out logistics provider.
But it's not just Transpac, because there was negligence on the part of DepEd, which Rappler explained in the report. DepEd owed Transpac 34.5 million pesos, but never paid them. Transpac had subcontracted the delivery of the laptops to several other companies, and those subcontractors then sold the laptops. The report stopped at Transpac, but how it ended up in retail stores is unclear. But the point is, may mga laptops na hindi umabot sa teachers. Rappler called different schools, and this is what they found out.
And our researcher, Ayla, was the one who took charge of that and making the phone calls to the schools. And I think that was the second best option to get a rough idea of how many laptops didn't get to their intended schools. So she was really on the phone every single day, calling teachers, getting hung up on, encountering teachers who would be afraid, or DepEd personnel who would be afraid to answer. So she made over 640 calls. So all of us, I think, ran into sources who wouldn't want to talk to us, but you would have to be quick to find alternatives.
Of the 139 who answered, at least 30 schools, or a little over a fifth of the schools surveyed by Rappler, said they didn't receive their laptops under the DCP. It's still unclear how much of the equipment can still be recovered, or even how much money was lost when Transpac's deal with DepEd fell through. Lawmakers have since called for a new House investigation into the laptops and the anomalies surrounding the contracts for this latest set of laptops. So, balik tayo sa aming field trip. The last HMR branch Pidoy I checked was in Cubao. Good morning. It's Thursday, 12:36 p.m., May 25. I'm standing here outside the Cubao branch of HMR Trading House. I'm just about to walk in just to see if they still have laptops bearing the Department of Education's logo up for sale. Bossing, ano yung mga laptop nyo? Wala na? Wala na as in out of stock po o
Sir, out of
di na
stock,
kayo
sir.
nagbebenta?
Nagbebenta pa rin sir, sa ngayon lang, walang dumating.
Walang bagong shipment.
Wala po sir, baka by next week pa yung ano namin, container eh.
Pero kung sa Pioneer, wala sigurado. Sa Sukat, wala din, no?
Malamang, kasi Pioneer yun eh.
Yun
branch
yung
namin
main,
yun
no?
eh. Yun ang
Opo.
main namin eh. Hindi talaga nauuna lagi sa kanila eh. Pinupost kasi sa online yun sir, kaya mabilis. Tsaka sa mga Viber group sir.
Yeah, they've got the usual audio, video categories. There's monitors, there's speakers, there's keyboards, mice, radios. I guess everything that you would need for a laptop. Pero yung mismong laptop, wala. They have CPUs also. I count 8 in front of me right now. Speakers, at least 40 monitors just laid out here. But no laptops. Malakas daw ang laptop ngayon, hot item. In all 3 HMR branches we checked, we didn't find any of the Kobe laptops. The 3 branches were all either low in stock or out of laptops completely, but they did say there were new shipments coming soon. Ryan says the team also sifted through hundreds of pages of contracts and financial statements to really see where Transpac and the DepEd were coming from. And there are still questions that remain unanswered.
We would wanted to know from HMR how, number one, how did they get these laptops in the first place? And I think people should understand also that even after the initial news reports about the sales of the laptops came out, tuloy-tuloy yung bentahan. So October 25, I think that was when our story came out, 2022. I think the obvious question is, did Transpac have a backer in its bid for the contract? Why the other bidders were disqualified specifically? They may possibly be, valid reasons, but we want the information. And I think exactly how many properties are missing or went missing, because we only were able to establish a rough estimate. But I think it's important to establish exactly how many, books, tables, chairs, TVs, laptops did not reach their intended beneficiaries. And it's possible it could be up to billions of pesos. And I'm just speaking from my side because, I looked into more of the numbers, contracts, and these are public funds. Pera ng bayan ito.
And as with all things government, there were real people with real lives who were affected in the end.
These are the stakeholders who are affected by the non-delivery of these laptops. This specific batch of laptops were for smart classrooms, so they came in a package of a laptop, lapel, and smart TV. This was for distance learning in a time when people were in their homes and students were among the most impacted by the pandemic, diba? And what struck me was when she reached out to this teacher who said na, they were waiting for these laptops to come, but they couldn't wait anymore because they were in the middle of a pandemic. So instead of waiting for the laptops, they resorted to getting loans to buy their own laptops.
Because of mismanagement, teachers who worked for the government had to pay a very steep price.
No one should have to spend money to be able to do their job, and a very important job, which is to teach, public school students. In some of the poorest provinces in the Philippines, a lot of the provinces that these laptops were supposed to go to were this particular batch in Central and Northern Luzon and in the Visayas provinces. So we're talking about Negros Island, Iloilo, Guimaras, provinces in Samar Island, Leyte, Cebu. So I think It only gave us a peek into the struggles of the teachers, and it might seem like a mundane or a small thing that they didn't receive their laptops, but it's a big thing when they have to resort to taking out a loan for 50 plus around 50,000, 60,000 pesos just to buy a laptop.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka News. Again, I'm Franco Luna. This episode was edited by Pidoy Blanco. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or two. And of course, don't forget to follow Teka Teka News and Puma Podcast on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Thanks for listening.